Hello friends, we are here in 2 Peter chapter 1. So the book of 2 Peter, by way of introduction, I will say was written very close to the time of 1 Peter, to a similar audience and for a similar reason. The purpose of the first book was because he could see that the Christians were going to go through serious persecution starting now, and write this letter. And in this letter, Peter is saying, I am about to die, and these are my last words. Like, the persecution has gotten so horrible that I am letting you know that I'm about to die. And these are my final words. This is my final plea to the Christians. Now, in the introduction to this letter, it says, I, Peter, an apostle. It's interesting the way that it says it. It says, to the people who have faith. To the people that have faith that is equal to ours. I think that's such an interesting way to say it. It's highlighting that a main theme of this chapter is the faith. He highlights the gospel and he says, your faith in this gospel is what is saving you. But then he says, my final plea here is that you should supplement your faith. Make sure that your faith is supplemented. And he says, supplement your faith with virtue. And supplement your virtue with knowledge. And supplement your knowledge with self-control. And supplement your self-control with steadfastness. And he keeps going, with godliness, with brotherly affection, with love. So he's saying, supplement your faith with all of these things. Now he's pointing back to the original case here, and that is love. No, not all of these things that go along with it, but the first thing, the faith. He's saying supplement all of these things with faith and make sure that you realize that these are things that go along with the faith. These are supplements for your faith. They're not the thing that saves you itself. And he says something very interesting after this. He says, if you remember these things, then that means that you will be profitable. Now, the first time I read this, I was like, yeah, you'll be profitable. You'll do great things for God's kingdom, but that's not what it says. It says it'll be profitable for your faith, for your knowledge of God, is what it says. But if you forget these things, it means that you are blind, that you are so nearsighted that you forgot what your faith was all about. Now, what is your faith all about? Now, why is he saying this? Why is he saying, if you do these things, then you will have knowledge. And if you don't do these things, it means that you are nearsighted. It sounds like he should be saying, if you do these things, you'll be profitable. If you don't do these things, you won't be profitable. Now, he says you are blind. You are so nearsighted that you don't remember what your faith was all about. So what do we conclude from this? That the gospel, the recognition of the gospel, the faith in Christ and what he has done for us, if that really gets into your heart, if you really understand it, it changes the way that you live. It starts from the faith and then it produces these things. It's very similar to the book of Galatians, where Paul was talking about the fruit of the Spirit. And he mentions all of these things. And he's not saying if you have these things or if you do these things, then you have the Spirit. He's saying if you have and do these things, those are a sign that you have the Spirit. That the Spirit comes first, and these are the fruits. That's why they're fruits and not like, we wouldn't say these are my core beliefs. This isn't the trunk of the tree. It's the fruit of the tree. It's the thing that is produced by what is the trunk, and that is faith in the gospel. So Peter here is giving a similar list with a similar purpose. But he says here, his purpose is so that you will be confirmed in your faith. Now that's kind of confusing. What does it mean to be confirmed in your faith? Is it saying that this is what saves you? Is this where you get your salvation? It's saying the exact opposite of that. It's saying that you're confirming your faith because you're seeing the fruit of what is already there. And it says here that if you do these things, if you remember these things, then these things will make it so that you will never fall. They're more than fruits, as Paul would say. He's saying this is keeping you standing up. These are things that are keeping you from falling. Peter says, now, I want to ground you back in your faith because I'm not going to be here much longer. He says straight up, I know that I'm going to die, and this is what I need to say before I go. And he says, this gospel, the story of Jesus, we did not follow some sort of myth that was made up by some other person. I'm telling you that I am an eyewitness to what was happening. I was there on the mountain when Jesus, he's talking about the Mount of Transfiguration. He says, I was there on the mountain when Jesus was caught up in a cloud and he was shining with brilliant light, and God says, this is my son. Listen to him. He says, this was not a story. He was like, I was there. The gospel that you have received is from me. This isn't a friend of the friend told me that his cousin, once removed, said this thing. He says, I saw it. I saw it. I was there. And it wasn't just me, but everybody. He says that the gospel didn't come to you through one person. And he's saying, really, it should never come through one person. So I mean, that is a reason that Christianity can be looked at as true, where things like Islam and Mormonism, those both came from one person. One person was given this idea, and then they bring it to the rest of the people. But Peter is saying, it was given to me, but not just me, to everyone. And it wasn't some old thing. It was something that I saw myself. So anyways, that is 2 Peter chapter 1. Have a great day. Bye.